The trilogy in the NFC Championship game. We've got the Rams and the 49ers facing off for the third time this season. The Rams 3.5-point favorites. The total sitting at a pretty low 46.5 in this game. Sandy, Kyle Shanahan has taken down and beaten Sean McVay in 6 straight games. He has his number. What say you about the Rams' chance in this game? Playing at home with an opportunity to host the Super Bowl and have a home Super Bowl for the second year in a row now, because Tampa had it last year. So what do you think here?
I just want to start this NFC Championship preview with the deep. My heart has been ripped out of my chest and put back in.
Do it.
I didn't want to do it, but I got to do it. My Packers ripped my heart out. The 49ers beat them. They didn't score an offensive touchdown in the game. It kills me, man. But this 49ers team, they're gritty and they're playing hot. This is another team similar to the Bengals in our other preview we did, where they're coming in. They've won some great games. The 49ers came to Lambeau and, shut the Packers down after the first drive. It was very impressive. So I got a hell of a lot of respect for, Kyle Shanahan and that team. That said, where I sit on this game right now, I'm seeing it at 3.5. I did see an article this morning before we hopped on here that there was some sharp money coming in on the 49ers at 3.5 to get that plus 3.5 number.
Yeah.
Early, we're here Monday, January 24th. So nothing locked in for me at this point, but I do lean Rams minus 3.5 here. Reason for that is I just really think the Rams, they beat the Bucs. That's crazy. They almost blew that game like 3 different times, which is kind of concerning as we get closer to the Super Bowl here. But I do like the Rams at 3.5 right now. Not overly confident about it, but I do think, it's hard to beat a team 3 times in the same year. I know the 49ers, great coach team, but I just don't see it happening. I think the Rams know what they need to do. The Super Bowl, they could host it at their own field. There's so much, into this game. Bucs did the same thing last year, right? So I think it's, or they didn't host the NFC, but they hosted the Super Bowl. But I think there's a lot of, suggestion that the Rams can get this done in this game. I just can't take the 49ers right now at this point. So I'm leaning Rams minus 3.5 here.
So yeah, let's start with the number. I think, I've heard some early rumblings to me. Look at some of the, what happened in that Packers San Fran game was you saw Debo banged up. You saw Trent Williams. He could barely walk, it seemed like, but he mustered it up for when he was on the field. Kittle went down. So people are worried about these injuries. It doesn't seem like that's an issue. Like Trent Williams had an MRI. There's no damage there. He'll be fine. He'll play. Debo said he's all good. It's not a big deal. And then let's not, put anything into this game being at SoFi and this being a home game for the Rams, because there will be more 49ers fans in the building. I'll almost guarantee you of that. So nothing from the spread, I don't think is really baked into any of that type of narrative. So I think I'm surprised to see this number at 3.5, considering this number was 3.5 the last time they played. And, we know what happened. McVay blew a 17-3 lead at halftime, and the 49ers made the playoffs. They could have avoided playing the 49ers again here if they just took care of business in Week 18. So that's another point to Kyle Shanahan in this game. So I do think that this number will probably close around 3. I mean, I think I'm seeing some major juice in terms of like minus 120 to the 49ers on 3.5 from what I've looked at so far. Let's go dive into the matchup a bit. I want to start with McVay and their offense, and then we'll get into the 49ers side. I love what McVay has done through for 6 of the 8 quarters of the playoffs. The Cardinals were a team that was pretty poor against the run this season. McVay put the ball on the ground at a high level early in that game and completely put that Cardinals team away in the first half. And then we have the Bucs, and they respected the Bucs run defense, threw the ball at a really high level, and then decided to give Cam Akers the ball 24 times for 48 yards and 2 fumbles. I need to see the Rams throw the football all game long against this 49ers team if they want to win. That's my formula here is Matt Stafford.
I agree, and that's the big thing. And what did we talk about last week with Matt Stafford? If he doesn't like that throw at the end of the Bucs game there was the biggest play in Matt Stafford's career, like far and wide. Like that was what I wanted to see. As someone who was on the Rams in that game, I needed to see that from Matt Stafford, because that's what it's going to take for them actually to win this NFC Championship game. Because as you said, Cam Akers, he's averaging 2 yards a carry on 24 attempts. That is not going to fly like that. Obviously, the Bucs run defense is good, but on top of that, you go ahead.
You can't burn out the clock. Like you can't put the game on ice if your running back can't get to the second level. Like it's just, I don't understand what he's doing in that second half, running the ball at that kind of rate. He threw for 230 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first half, Matt Stafford did. And then they just went ahead and just ran the ball and tried to kill clock against an awesome run defense. It's the same here with the Niners.
Yeah, no, it didn't make sense. And I agree. It's literally the same thing with the Niners. The Rams need to keep their foot on the pedal. If they start that hot, I mean, Matt Stafford, 200 yards and 2 touchdowns and a half, and you're going to go back and run the ball 20 times in the next half like that. Yeah. The math or the strategy doesn't line up to me there. And as I said, I think for the Rams to be successful in this game, it's on Matt Stafford. And Matt Stafford stepped the fuck up last week. I mean, I was lost of words. I really was. And I was impressed. I even shot a tweet out. Like, that was literally the most respectful play of his career. Like, people are literally giving Matt Stafford more credit than he's ever gotten in his whole career. So if he's playing like that, he knows what he needs to do to lead this team to victory. And I think Sean McVay needs to give him he's given him the keys, but let's let Matt Stafford cook in this game. And that's what
let's let him ice the game. Let's put it in his hands.
Yeah. And because the turnover battle too, again, like, it's funny because there was turnovers from the Rams.
That's why he's worried about it. Yeah. Right. That's why he's worried about throwing the ball late in the game, is because he's worried about the turnovers. But at the end of the day, I mean, this is live by the sword, die by the sword, because I don't understand his infatuation with Cam Akers. Like, fantasy football players, you're probably excited because Sean McVay loves Cam Akers to a degree that it's really harming the team. I need to see some Sony Michel too. I don't know why we're not seeing that either.
Yeah. I just think, again, if Matt Stafford is not turning the ball over, the Rams are going to win this game. I really firmly believe that. I think they'll cover the number. So I'm betting on Matt Stafford this week. That's where my head's at. I know that's the key to victory. That's win and die, live and die by the sword. I think you said it perfectly. So I'm living and dying by this Matt Stafford sword this week. And I think the Rams do cover this number, and he's going to play a great game.
Yeah. Yeah. If I had to lean somewhere, it would be the Rams side, but I'm not. I'll be on the total, and then I'll be on a prop that I really like. I'll just get to the prop. I really like Stafford's over in passing attempts. It's not out yet. I'm obviously going to wait and see. If it's something ridiculous like in the 40s, I'm not going to hit it. But if I see it somewhere around, I'm probably thinking 37, 38. If I see it there, I'm probably going there, because I think they should be able to have success throwing the ball against the Niners. I mean, who is that? Kwan Williams was in the slot. I think Devontae Adams did who else? Aaron Jones as well. Both of them kind of did a number on him. They really attacked him in the slot, as Kwan Williams just couldn't really keep up. So I think Cooper Kupp will be attacking that area of the field too, and doing the same kind of thing. And I just think they need to throw the ball. I just don't understand why they would be running the ball here, because they already proved that they kind of gave the game away, both to the 49ers and to the Bucs. Managed to salvage that game, but it was by running the football. So I'm with you. Like, we're on the same page for sure.
Another key player for the Rams offense before we go to the 49ers, I think Odell has to have a big game. He didn't have a big one against the 49ers last time. I think he's played them twice this year and had not great games either game. So I need to see Odell step up. He's been playing great. I gave him props last week. He's definitely a huge key to this offense and, how they can play their game. But, he's a guy I look to, not saying for a prop or anything, but for a key player to really propel this team to victory. Odell needs to be on his game this week against the 49ers for sure.
Yeah, I could see his prop getting a little bit ballooned, because I had his over 40. Like, I think I could see it in the 50s now, because he did play well. He was definitely an important piece of the offense in that first half too. So definitely a player to keep an eye on. Other thing too, when you mentioned with how good Stafford was, it's because we drew it up in the preview for that game, was that the Bucs love to blitz, and Stafford absolutely killed them against the blitz, because that absolutely moronic play call of blitzing on that Cooper Kupp 40-yard pass. Did you see that Bruce Arians post game? He said that they decided to blitz and it wasn't communicated to the entire defense.
I didn't see the exact quote, but I mean,
that's what he said.
You shouldn't even be blitzing there anyways. Like, we shouldn't even be talking about a blitz there. No. Like, that should be playing cover 4, drop the safeties back. Like, they didn't need to blitz there. They didn't. And as you said, that was a great nugget by you last week. You came on and said he is like one of the top QBs against the blitz, when you wouldn't think, like, your everyday fan probably wouldn't look under the hood and think that. But he absolutely dominated them against the blitz. Like, that was, again, the biggest throw of Matthew Stafford's career in the biggest game possible. Like, he's had the NFC Championship where he's never been before. This is, that is the play of his career. And he stepped up exactly what he needs to do this week. And I expect the same this week.
Very different from the 49ers side, I will say, to just briefly touch the 49ers. They don't like to blitz. They're like a bottom 5 team in blitz rate this season. They rely on the front 4 to get pressure. So I do think that they won't be changing that. They blitzed Matthew Stafford at a 12% rate this season, and you give him too much time, and it seems like he finds a way to make mistakes. So I think that's what they'll be doing here as well. So putting the numbers in the secondary, not blitzing, trusting the front 4 to cause havoc. Reek Armstead, Nick Bosa. So
I mean, the 49ers got to their front 4 got to run. They had 5 sacks against the Packers. I mean,
pressure rate
I think
was
that's
great for them there.
yeah, and I think that's exactly even if they weren't sacking, there was still pressure on them. Errant throws were happening. Yeah. So I think that will continue in this game. I definitely think that. But my big thing for the 49ers is Jimmy Garoppolo, man. As I said, they didn't score an offensive touchdown last game. The run game actually picked up, after the first quarter or two. They got some stuff going, but Jimmy Garoppolo, interception. He's thrown an interception in his last 4 games, like 130 yards last week against the Packers only. Like, they need him to step up to win this game. Like, it's not going to happen from, Elijah Mitchell and Deebo Samuel doing it all. You know what I mean? Yeah. So George Kittle had a drop last week against the Packers. Like, those things are going to cost the 49ers in a game like this against the Rams, where I think, Jimmy G, obviously it starts with him. So that's a big key. Like, can he step up and actually, not turn the ball over and throw for some good yards and, key third down, stuff like that. So I look to that as probably the biggest key for this 49ers offense this week, because there's more questions about him than anyone else on this offense.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I felt bad for him early on because I did think he made a few good plays, and there were some there was like a span of like 4 drops in a row, it felt like. But that second half, he is banged up. It's so clear, and I think it was accentuated being that it was cold weather, because there was 4 balls to the flat that he threw that just, first off, the spiral was anything but
tight.
Like
it was like
Jared Hall throwing the football. Special shout out to Jared. And those should have probably gone back for pick sixes. I honestly thought they were. The entire room that I was watching the game with was like, oh, because you just see it floating to the sideline. So I think the Rams, I want to start with the Rams defense and their approach here. All season they've played a ton of nickel, not a lot of base. Trust Aaron Donald being up the middle, and being able to get stops for them. But the 49ers have absolutely killed them on the ground, and they've been a really good team against the run. They're only giving up 3.9 yards per carry, but the 49ers have been able to run wild on the Rams. They ran in those 2 games. They ran for over 280 yards and 2 touchdowns in those 2 matchups. So I think they're going to need to play a little bit more base. The Packers did a lot of that, I thought, right? Against the Niners. Like, they didn't have a lot of or they played a lot of base where they had 3 linebackers on the field and didn't really have that nickel corner out as much. I was looking through snap counts and whatnot. It looked like that was the case. So I think that's what they need to do, is more base, focus on the middle of the field, stop the run, and say, hey, Jimmy, throw the ball to the outside, and that's where you're going to need to beat us if you want to win this game.
Yeah, and your point about Jimmy, obviously he's injured, but some of those throws on like those 5-yard hitch routes and some of the comebacks from the outside, even out routes, they were late. They were late and they looked horrible. Like, there wasn't zip on those balls. So obviously, guys like Jalen Ramsey can obviously take advantage, who kind of got picked on, honestly, this week. Mike Evans had, I think Jalen Ramsey is the best corner in football, but that said, they weren't scared to throw at him last week. Obviously, Brady's one of the best to ever do it, and Mike Evans is top of the league at wide out. Yeah. But he had a great game against Ramsey. So I'm looking this week. Obviously, I don't expect something similar. I bet Ramsey will be more locked down, especially with Jimmy G at quarterback versus Tom Brady. But I think that's a great key to victory, for the Rams defense, what they need to do. But a guy like Deebo Samuel, who's absolutely murdered the Rams this year, like 90 plus receiving yards in the last 2 games against them, rushing yards on top of those with rushing touchdowns. Like, that's going to be their guy. Obviously, the ankle injury, hopefully it's nothing serious. The Rams or the 49ers will get him back. But he's going to be, essential to this win. And then obviously the Elijah Mitchell effect as well of him running the ball hard. So I think those 2 will, help that offense a bunch, but you got to put it on Jimmy G here, and you got to, show up and play. So I think it's on him more than the 2 of those guys.
He's been good he was good in both games against the Rams. He had a couple interceptions in the second game, but he also threw for over 300 yards in that game. And then the previous game, he only threw for about 180, but he only had, I think, like 16 passing attempts because they just dominated on the ground. I think the Rams are a better team. Maybe not necessarily a completely better team. They probably are, but I also think that the quarterback position is the difference maker here. Again, I'm not betting the spread. I'm going to take the over. Last time these 2 teams played, I absolutely loved the under, but it seems like I think there's an obvious the 49ers just have their number offensively, and then I think the Rams will be able to throw the ball well against this 49ers defense. So I like the over 46.5, and then like I said, I like Matthew Stafford's passing attempts. Look, hopefully if it's around 37, 36.5, 37, 38, I'll be hitting that over as well, because I just think they'll be throwing it early and often.
Yeah, I do like this. My picks as it sits now on Monday are Rams, minus 3.5 for probably a unit at this point. Haven't placed it yet, but likely will, depending on some movement there. And then I do lean over with you as well. I think that 46.5 number is a little low for me. I definitely think they could put points on the board in this one. I rode that under with you last time they played, and it's obviously didn't hit, but
slipped away. Yep,
of course. And then
late.
Which you wouldn't think, because they were running the ball so much, but it ended up hitting. So anyways, I do lean over 46.5 in this one. I think it will be, if the Rams are going to be getting out early, that's going to be a little bit of an issue for the over. Like if the Rams come out really, really hot, then the 49ers have to throw a bunch more. Like I think the 49ers have to be in it early, and I think that will make the over obviously be more likely to hit. So let's see here, but I do lean over at this point.
These definitely are, like I like this over, but I also can say to you that from watching these teams play in week 18, the clock can disappear on you in like a matter of moments.
For sure.
You'll be in the third quarter with 15 minutes left, and next thing you know, there's only been a possession and a half, and the's 3 minutes left in the third, and nobody's scored yet. So
well, what Kyle Shanahan likes to do, you know what I mean? Like he game scripts, right? Like he could literally take a half or 3/4 of a quarter in one drive. You never know, right? So that's what you got to be worried for if you have the over there. But I think it's still hits. I like the over.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page as well with, if you're playing fantasy this weekend, definitely be doing it over at OwnersBox. We're on the same page, I think, with Stafford as a guy that I would definitely be including in my lineup, either as my starting QB, or if I can find the salary, put him in my super flex spot as well with another QB. So definitely look to do that. $10,000 Sunday Championship Sunday contest is live on the platform now, so the link will be in the description to go do that. Promo code Drew9, you'll get a $10 free entry into that contest as well. If you guys need a more in-depth breakdown of the game, that link will be in the description to our website, to our blog. I've got a full article on the game. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed. We're cooking up a great Super Bowl preview episode too, just like we did last year. We got to get back in the lab on that one, so excited for it. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.